Up with KREM begins now.
Here at 7 o'clock on your Friday morning, right now on Up with KREM, more people are becoming eligible for the vaccine in the Inland Northwest, including one group of people who say they've felt left out of the process.
This will be a big thing to help with the feeling of more freedom.
This morning, we're hearing from restaurant workers who will finally become eligible.
And of course, we're going to take you outside, talk a little bit of cloud cover and some isolated showers this morning, and a cooler weekend ahead.
And a number of celebrities have released their March Madness brackets, and it looks like we aren't the only ones picking Inland Northwest teams to make it to the finals. We'll tell you more coming up. And what better way to set the table? Welcome to Up with KREM. March Madness is upon us. We're just over 2 hours away from the first game starting, and we want to know, what does your bracket look like? Tell us who you have winning the tournament. Have you filled it out yet? I hope so. Send us a photo of your March Madness bracket. We'll talk about all of our choices all morning long here on Up with KREM. By the way, I want to ask Jeremy, did you use my story that I did earlier this week to help fill yours out?
Of course.
Yeah, good.
Of course, I read everything, I look at everything, and then I throw it all out the window and make a bracket.
Yeah, watch. It's going to just be horribly wrong. It's going to be horribly wrong. I'm sorry in advance.
It's so tough. You know, right now I'm lining up with my guy Doug, so we'll see how that pans out.
We'll check out on that a little bit later. We got to look outside, though. What's the weekend forecast like, Jeremy?
Ooh, a lot like today as we head into the weekend. We had a couple of scattered bits of drizzle here in town, or sprinkles early on this morning. We're sitting comfortably in the 40s, though, and I don't think we get any cooler. In fact, as we go through the day, all of these temperatures rise, but not all that much. You know, the past few days we've been talking about a 25 to 30 degree swing in temperatures each day. That's not going to happen today. That's thanks to our moisture and cloud cover in the atmosphere. Someone once explained it to me this way recently. They said, oh yeah, another meteorologist, we were chatting. They were like, it's basically like boiling water. You got a little tiny bit in the bottom of your pot, you can boil it pretty quick. That water heats up fast. You got a whole pot full of it, it takes a while with the same amount of heat. And we have the same amount of heat, the same amount of sun each day. And so with this moisture in the atmosphere, it takes a lot longer to heat up throughout the day. Today and tomorrow look very similar for that reason. A couple of isolated sprinkles early on in the day, and by the afternoon, a couple of peaks of sun as temperatures top out near 50 degrees.
We'll see you back here in just a few minutes, Jeremy. Here at 7:02 this morning, 2 million more people will become eligible to receive a vaccine in just a few weeks, and it comes just a day after the state moves up a tier. On March 31st, anyone 60 or older will be able to get their shots. People with 2 or more medical conditions can also get vaccinated. People living or working in congregate settings, and this new movement also includes people working in restaurants, manufacturing, construction, group homes, correctional facilities, and people experiencing homelessness. Now, as we mentioned, one of the groups include restaurant workers, and we're talking about restaurant capacity that expands on Monday, which means workers are soon going to be able to start getting their own dose of a vaccine. Nicole Hernandez joins us now. And Nicole, you've checked in with people throughout the industry leading up to this big news. How are they reacting today?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of relief from people working in restaurants. We're here in Kendall Yards right now, where you can see we've got the scoop behind me, we've got Baba right there, and then we move this so you can see the yards. It's actually open and ready for service this morning, but it's people at places like this, the people working in restaurants, serving people every single day, that have been pushing over the past few months for the governor's office to include them in the next phase of that vaccine distribution. But for a while, they were not prioritized. Instead, other critical workers were given priority. Those are people like teachers and grocery store employees. So yesterday's announcement came as a big relief for workers who have been working hard under these stressful conditions.
Just that freedom to be around other people who have been vaccinated, to know that they're safe, we're safe.
Jim Rhodes owns Rock City Grill on Spokane's South Hill. He says being able to come into work and not be in constant fear of catching COVID will make a huge difference for everyone's mental health.
They'll be able to go into restaurants now. Most of our staff go home. You know, they don't go out either. And this will be a big thing to help with the feeling of more freedom.
And again, restaurant and other workers in congregate settings will be eligible for the vaccine starting March 31st. And this, of course, comes as restaurants are going to be able to bring more and more people inside the restaurants for indoor seating. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
7:05 now this morning. Time for your morning rush. More news in less time. Eastern Washington University interim president David May is condemning racist graffiti that was targeting a student athlete and their roommate. The university was notified about racist graffiti and vandalism at Eagle Point Apartments, and May has followed that notification with this statement. Take a look. He says, quote, "My most fervent wish is that the victims somehow find some healing and some peace. That is my number one concern, but a close second is that the individuals responsible for this shameful and deplorable act are found and dealt with to the fullest extent allowed by law or university policy." Now, anyone who knows anything about this graffiti and vandalism is asked to report it to Cheney or university police. This morning, we have an update to a story we brought you yesterday here on Up with KREM as breaking news. Thanks to a Spokane police officer, one local priest escaped the fire that caused extensive damage to St. Charles Catholic Church yesterday morning. The priest had just come back from visiting family in Argentina and had slept through the entire ordeal.
I slept through everything, and this just pounding on the window, I woke up and he says, "It's on fire."
School will be canceled again today at the elementary school. SPD Major Crimes Unit is investigating the fire as a possible arson. Members of the church say as long as they get approval from the fire department, they have every intention on holding Mass this Sunday. On Monday, flags around the country will be flown at half staff. President Joe Biden has ordered this for the 8 victims killed during a shooting rampage in the Atlanta area earlier this week. He said in a proclamation, flags will remain that way until sunset as a mark of respect for the victims of senseless acts of violence. That is your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Well, it's what we're all talking about today. A record 4 teams from the inland Northwest are headed to the big dance. The previous record for the NCAA tournament was 3, and that happened 3 times. So when is everybody playing during the tournament? Well, the overall top seed, the Gonzaga men, are going to square off against Norfolk State this Saturday at 6:20 on TBS. Norfolk, by the way, advanced with a very narrow victory against Appalachian State last night. If you missed it, they won 54-53. It was a true nail-biter. By the way, the Eastern Washington men also awarded a seed in the tournament as a 14 seed. They're taking on the heavy favorite, Kansas, at 10:15 on Saturday morning. That will also be on TBS. Let's look to the women today. The WSU women are headed back to the tournament for the first time in 30 years. They were awarded a number 9 seed. They will play the 8-seeded South Florida on Sunday. It'll also air on ESPN2. Tip-off is at 6:30. And the Gonzaga women, they got a 5 seed in this year's tournament. They will play 12-seeded Belmont, and that happens next Monday at 1 o'clock. That also will air on ESPN2. But coming up in our next half hour, we've got more news for you starting in Idaho with Governor Brad Little, who has been critical of the federal COVID relief package, but he still has a plan to spend the funds given to Idaho. We'll break down what he will spend and where.
And of course, we're going to take you outside. Talk a cool morning with some isolated showers and a cool afternoon as temps trend about 10 degrees colder than where they were yesterday.
And take a look at your screen. Due to March Madness games, we've got a programming note for you. Some of our KREM 2 newscasts are changing. Of course, the big dance, as we mentioned, is going to start in the 9 o'clock hour. Today, right here on KREM 2, there will be no noon newscast today. But if you'd like to get your latest news, weather, and sports updated on KREM 2, you can check us out at 3:30, 9, and 11 tonight. Now, let's say you're away from your TV or your computer. You can also download the KREM 2 app to keep yourselves up to date. We'll be right back.